Yes, welcome back to Poetry and Police. As usual, before I go any further, enough respect. Big up to my subscribers. Big up to the members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, members of the Jamaica Defense Force. Big up all the teachers, the nurses in Jamaica, taxi drivers, bus drivers as usual. Because Jamaica is going through a very tumultuous time right now. Jamaica is overwhelmed by crime and violence, and we have traffic issues. So apart from murder issues, Jamaica has traffic issues now. And the most recent thing now is the whole revamping of the traffic system in Jamaica, which, trust me, I consider to be one of the most embarrassing moments in Jamaica right now. Because if the leaders in Jamaica believe that hiking the prices of traffic ticket is going to change anything, they have us. It's a very sad story. They have something else coming. Because raising traffic fines will never prevent from people from driving in any other way. People will always be driving the same way. People will always make mistakes in driving. People leave their driver's license behind. It will still be the same thing. Now, people are lashing out against the hiking traffic offenses. And they have a right to, because I believe that this hike in traffic in traffic ticketing, in the traffic ticketing system is trust me, it is very irrational, and it is in no way can change the way that people drive on the streets in Jamaica, because the fines are too high, and people must realize that the fines are too high. Yes, the fines are too high, Mr. Prime Minister. So you need to revisit this and change the fines and lower some of these fines because they are too high. Some people can hardly afford insurance for their car, because Jamaican society is in a state where people do not have money to even take care of them oneself, much less. People can hardly license and insure their vehicle, their motor vehicles nowadays, because jobs are not, people pay are not being risen. People pays are not going up. People are working the same amount of money. Taxi drivers, bus drivers, truck drivers, they're hardly making it. People are hardly finding ways to get by, to find their bills. And now these hike with traffic tickets. Trust me, it is a situation where Jamaica will find itself in a worse financial status right now because of the rise in these traffic tickets. And most of the fines with these traffic offenses are exorbitant. And they're too high. And if the Prime Minister believes that raising the fines for traffic ticket is going to change anything in Jamaica, it will not. It is going to make things worse. And now the government has opened doors for the criminal police officers who is out there writing traffic ticket to gain more money and to be more criminal. You have now opened the doors for the police officers who are writing tickets and collecting money from people. It is going to rise. So corruption in the police department is going to rise as a result of the raising these traffic tickets. Because a man would rather to give a policeman $10,000 more than pay $40,000 for your ticket. And therefore, as a result of this, corruption in the Jamaica Constabulary Force is going to go up in relation to traffic offenses. I am telling you that. So what have you done? You have made the situation worse, Mr. Prime Minister. And I think you need to address this because the traffic fines are too high. The traffic fines are too high, and it will just open more doors for corruption in the traffic ticket system. It was there before, the tickets were cheap, and it's going to be worse now that the tickets are way more expensive. So you doing that has not changed anything, Mr. Prime Minister. So you need to consider the prices, and you need to lower the traffic fines, because traffic fines does not stop traffic violations. People will still speed, people will still drive reckless, and then you are going to find more people not paying their traffic tickets because they just cannot afford it. You can imagine a little man driving a taxi for somebody and get a $40,000 ticket or a $45,000 ticket or $25,000 ticket. Who is going to pay that? People are going to be on the run now. Traffic tickets are not going to be paid because people just can't afford it. It is just not affordable for most people in Jamaica. A man can leave his house and forget his driver's license, of course. We are all human, we make mistakes. So if you're going to charge a man so much thousands of dollars for leaving his driver's license behind, then what is going to happen? The traffic tickets are too much, Mr. Prime Minister. And leaders of the police department should have got involved in the prices that it relates to these traffic tickets before they even come to fruition. The police should have a big say in how you issue traffic tickets and the fines, because these fines are just too exorbitant for people to afford. Even in America nowadays, I got a ticket the other day for I forgot my driver's license. A policeman gave me a ticket just 5 minutes from my house for failure to have my driver's license in my possession. It was like $100 for the ticket. And I think in Jamaica it's like $25,000 or more. So you are charging way more than the United States is charging for traffic tickets. And the Prime Minister came forward and was addressing the whole rise in traffic tickets, and he's saying that the government will not benefit anything from the traffic tickets. And he's saying that it is not, the rise in traffic tickets is not so the government can benefit from it. Rubbish! We all know from time immemorial that the whole traffic system is a way of revenue. Traffic tickets are a way of revenue which the government benefits from. So don't come forward and talk about the government is not benefiting anything from these traffic. Yes, the government is benefiting from the fines of traffic ticket. And the government has been benefiting from the rise of traffic ticket for years. And now you are just holding the Jamaican people by their throat and forcing the Jamaican people to pay more money. So you are using the traffic ticket system as a way of improving the country's revenue. I am not saying anything is wrong with that, because traffic ticket has always been that. It always been an accelerant to revenue, to obtaining more revenue for the country. It's always been that. So, and that has not changed. So all these rising traffic tickets will benefit the country and will benefit the government. So don't come forward and talk about the country is not going to benefit from it, and it's not a way of the country benefiting financially from it. Yes, it is. The raw truth, it is, brethren. And at the same time, you are forcing the Jamaican people to pay too much for traffic ticket just to achieve revenue from the proceeds of traffic tickets. So don't come forward and talk about traffic ticket is not going to be beneficial to the government. Traffic tickets have always been beneficial to the government, to the revenue in any country. In America, it's a business. Police are giving quotas, the amount of tickets they're supposed to write, because it helps with the country's revenue. Of course it does. So don't come and beat around the bush as if the traffic ticket does not assist in revenues and it does not help the budget in Jamaica. It does. So you are using the traffic tickets and using police officers to help with the budget. So don't come and tell the Jamaican people that that is not the case, because that is always the case, and it's now the case. But it's a different situation now where you're trying to gain more money from the revenues of traffic to help the country. So don't come and talk about it is not about revenue, Mr. Prime Minister. It is about revenue. And you are using the system to rob the Jamaican country, the Jamaican people, of their spending power. And you're going to find yourself in trouble, because the traffic system is going to get worse. And the way people are going to hate the police more for write them tickets. And you're going to find more people not paying their traffic tickets because they just cannot afford it. And that is the case. Jamaica is not plagued by traffic. Jamaica is plagued by crime and violence. And crime and violence right now will escalate to an even more advanced level, taking in this traffic system in place and the fines that you have implemented in place. It is not going to make Jamaica worse, but it is going to make Jamaica, it is not going to make Jamaica better. It's going to make Jamaica worse, both criminally and both along the traffic avenues. I'm telling you that. And like I said before, this is going to be the catalyst for more corruption within the Jamaica Constabulary Force, within the traffic department, highway patrol people. And now, right now, we all know that police in the highway patrol and always have them partner. Corrupt police, thieving police, always have them partner where them are like 50,000 a day partner, 20,000 a day partner, where police officers come together and their partner money comes from writing tickets, collecting the money themselves. Instead of giving somebody a ticket, the person pays. And now you have opened the doors for these thieving police to act and have even a bigger partner. You understand me? Because I have worked with highway patrol police officers before. When I was a young cop, I can remember on Huntsville, we always assigned police officers to the motorized patrol units on a daily basis and nightly basis. And I remember I've worked with 2 motorized patrol police officers, senior men. I was a young cop then. And I can quote clearly, this is not hearsay. The police told me that, yeah, well, squaddy, I have my partner for paying. I mean, I have to hustle my partner money out there. You understand me? So they come out and they try to write tickets, and they stop enough people to find enough traffic offenses so people can pay them the cash instead to make their partner for the day. And trust me, what you have done now is just assisting these police officers, because they are going to collect more money now. They are going to get richer now. Because you have to accept the fact that there's corruption in the Jamaica Constable Force in terms of the ticketing system. And I know people in Jamaica that every ticket that has been written, they can make their links with people at the traffic headquarters and erase ticket, and money has been paid. Now, I know that the system that you have put in place is going to prevent these things from happening. Maybe prevent these things from happening. But they will never stop happening. Because instead of writing the ticket nowadays, the police will just take the money. So more police will be involved in corruption in relation to traffic. And more police will also be charged too, because people will set them up. So you have opened the door to more corruption than has ever existed in the Jamaica Constable in terms of the traffic system and in terms of traffic. I'm telling you that. There's no doubt about that. That is what you have done. So, as a Prime Minister, you have to think about your people at the same time when you're making rules and regulations, especially when it comes to the trafficking system. The traffic tickets are just too high, Mr. Prime Minister. And this is a thing that you should have thought about for a more lengthy period. And the repercussions that this will cause. And I can assure you, Mr. Prime Minister, that the traffic system is not going to get better with these high fines, but it is going to get worse. And you're going to find more people not paying their traffic tickets, and you're going to find more police officers who are collecting money instead of writing tickets for people. And that is just the raw truth, because we have a whole heap of thieving police, and we have a whole heap of unscrupulous police as it relates to traffic offenses in the country. And no people are get pressured by police. No, police are get sued because police are stop vehicle left, right, and center, and was just to find them at fault to make a money. And even the other day, talking about the hike in the fines for traffic ticket, the thing that came down the other day about the FLA charging how much money from one person for failing to have their licensed firearm booklets with them when they have their firearms, the fine went up. So now what is going to happen now, Mr. Prime Minister, as a result of that? If a policeman stops a motorist or stops anybody on the street and they have a licensed firearm but accidentally leave their booklet at home, a man would rather pay a police a $10,000, $15,000 than pay that $3 million. Trust me. So you think that what you are doing with the traffic system and the FLA is right, Mr. Prime Minister. I'm not saying that you don't mean good by the country. But the decision that you have made with FLA and with the trafficking fine system is going to play back on you. It's going to cause a negative effect on crime and violence. It is going to cause a negative effect on the police department, because you're going to find more corrupt police nowadays. God, trust me, enough police right now, all criminal police, them, right now they are happy because of the raise of the fines, because they know that if them stop a man out of the road, a man I prefer give them $10,000 more than pay $25,000 for your ticket. And that is the raw truth. And we cannot hide from that. As a former police officer, Mr. Prime Minister, as an ex-detective, Mr. Prime Minister, these fines are atrocious. And these fines were not relevant for the situation that is going on in Jamaica right now. Jamaica is at a crossroads. And I'm not saying that your government is not trying its best to reduce crime and violence in Jamaica. Yes, the record will show that this administration have done the most towards crime and violence. I will give you that. I will give you that, Mr. Prime Minister. I will cheer you on for that. As an ex-detective, based off my observation, this administration is doing more than the administrations before. But you have to understand that Jamaica is at a crossroad. Now Jamaica is at a crossroad where you have to make the right decisions as to which direction Jamaica goes in terms of crime and violence. And raising the fines and traffic tickets is just not an avenue that you should have taken right now, especially with such exorbitant raises. The FLA, on the other hand, if a man does not have his license firearm booklet, the fine is $3 million. Who is going to pay that? Who is going to find $3 million to pay? Nobody can find $3 million. A man cannot find the next meal for himself and his family. So how is a man going to find $3 million if he does not have his license firearm booklet in his possession? I am sure that every licensed firearm holder make it their responsibility to walk with their booklets with their firearms. But people make mistakes, and a man will oftentimes, somebody will leave their license firearm booklet behind, as well as their driver's license. So you're going to tell me that a man's mistake is going to cost him $3 million under the FLA Act, or a man's mistake is going to cost him $25,000 or more for leaving his driver's license behind, Mr. Prime Minister? You have just set off a time bomb in the country that is going to cause nothing but negative repercussions, Mr. Prime Minister. And your advisors, if you have taken advice from the police department, then depending on which police you talk to, they would have told you that, Mr. Prime Minister, these charges are too exorbitant. And you would believe that, do you really think that a man is going to do better just because the fines are greater? A man is going to walk with a little 10,000 in his pocket to get the police to stop him. May I tell you that? And if the police department is going to become more corrupt, so you're turning the traffic police in more hustlers than they were before. And that is just my take on the whole thing. The fines are irrelevant. The high fines are irrelevant, both with the FLA and both with the traffic system, Mr. Prime Minister. I will applaud you, Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Andrew Holness, I applaud you for the steps that you're trying to take in relation to crime and violence in Jamaica. I've seen the steps, and I've seen that your administration is trying. Is trying your very best to stem the murder rate in Jamaica, to stem crime and violence in Jamaica, to stem traffic offenses in Jamaica, to stem the unpaid traffic tickets that exist in Jamaica nowadays. But the direction that you are taking as a result is the wrong direction. Hiking of the prices is not the ultimate solution to the problems that we have. Jamaica is at a crossroad, Mr. Prime Minister, and if you do not decide on if you do not choose the right directions for the country during this time, then Jamaica will be worse than it was a few years ago or yesterday. Jamaica will become worse than it was before. Now, you have said it, that your administration is trying the best to solve Jamaica's crime problem. And yes, I have seen your efforts, Mr. Prime Minister. And they are valiant efforts. And no government in the history of Jamaica has taken the steps that you have taken to make Jamaica a crime-free country. But you are just not taking the right steps. You are trying, but the steps that you are taking is the wrong steps, the wrong approach to our traffic situation and to our crime situation. The measures that you've put in place will only make Jamaica worse and not better. And you need better advisors. And any real experienced policeman in Jamaica, any real detective in Jamaica will tell you that this is the wrong approach. And you are a smart enough person, Mr. Prime Minister, to understand the levels and to know that the approach that you are taking in relation to this is wrong. And it is not, the approach that you have taken is not the solution to our crime problem. It's not the solution to our traffic problem. Jamaica does not have a traffic problem. Jamaica has a problem where people fail to pay the traffic ticket. And can you imagine if they fail to pay the traffic ticket and it was so cheap, and now that you have raised the fine, now it is going to get worse. People are not going to pay these traffic tickets, and what is going to happen? More fathers and brothers and sons and daughters are going to find themselves in jail. More people will be criminalized as a result of these decisions. A man who has a licensed firearm and has accidentally left his book behind will find himself in jail because he cannot pay $3 million. So you are turning good law-abiding citizens into criminals. The good is suffering for the bad, Mr. Prime Minister. And you, as a Prime Minister for our country, cannot allow the good to suffer for the bad. You have to support the good people in this country, and you have to think about the good law-abiding citizens in Jamaica. And you have to make every decision based off the good law-abiding citizens. Because out of 10 people driving on the street, I am sure that 8 out of those 10 are good drivers who are trying to abide by the rules and the regulations of the Jamaican traffic system or the up. Most of these law-abiding citizens are trying their best to stay within the ambits of the law, to act within the ambits of the law. And do not come and tell people that the country is not benefiting. The whole issue of raising traffic tickets and putting the fines in place is to attract better revenue for the country, to assist in the budget. So don't come and tell us that no, the country is not benefiting from it. Don't come and think that and say to us, you're a hypocrite to say that people are now going to drive better, or people are going to try not to commit any traffic acts. Because that is simply not the case. And you will find out that along the road that it is not the case. It was never the case, and it will never be the case. The traffic fines are too exorbitant. The fines for FLA is more than exorbitant. And people are not going to afford, people will not afford these fines. Hence, you're going to find more warrants being issued for people and more traffic tickets unpaid. And that is simply put, Mr. Prime Minister. So now, you need to do the right thing, Mr. Prime Minister. If you say that your administration is the administration that is trying to make Jamaica a better place, trying to change Jamaica's approach towards crime and violence to better the crime and violence in our country, then you have to make a different decision, Mr. Prime Minister. You cannot hold the people ransom with these exorbitant fines as it relates to traffic tickets, or these exorbitant fines as it related to licensed firearm holders. So you need to revisit this, Mr. Prime Minister. And the logical thing to do is to reform the traffic ticketing system, but the fines must be at a lower cost. You cannot stress the Jamaican people. They are already stressed. They are already broke. The economy is already falling to pieces, Mr. Prime Minister. America is falling. Jamaica is falling. Most countries in the world are falling to pieces economically nowadays. Even the English government, the English society is falling. The English dollar went down the other day. That is to show that great countries are suffering. We are having an economical crisis, Mr. Prime Minister. So now that the world is having an economical crisis, Mr. Prime Minister, this is not the time to raise traffic tickets to these exorbitant prices. These are not the times for you to raise the FLA fines to exorbitant prices that people cannot afford. As a government, it is on you, Mr. Prime Minister, to give spending power to the people so the economy can thrive, not to take away the spending power of the Jamaican people. Because if you take away the spending power of the Jamaican people, then you're going to have a crash economy. People who do not have the money, crime is going to escalate. You have a whole lot of people in the garrison communities where just a little taxi thing and a little bus thing, that is what they survive off. Now, if a man drives out there, say a man is driving there and he's hustling because his license cannot drive a red plate and he's driving a red plate. And he's given a traffic ticket by a police officer, which he cannot afford. The man is going to go back to crime because he's going to see it as, listen, it doesn't make sense me try work, then it better me keep on thieving, it better me keep on rob and thief and kill people. And these are the things that you need to think about, Mr. Prime Minister, before you do these things. Because if you look carefully, Mr. Prime, the people who gets the most tickets are taxi operators and bus drivers. It's not the regular people going to work every day. It's taxi and bus drivers. And most of these people come from poor background. They're not rich. Most of these drivers out there, the salary that they get can barely take care of their financial needs. So if you raise these traffic tickets, and remember, if a driver is given a traffic ticket out there, he's the one responsible for his driving. He's the one responsible for paying the traffic ticket, not his boss. So the man is going to be left getting one, trust me, not even 2 tickets. I wouldn't say 2 tickets, 1 ticket. 1 traffic ticket can cost him his whole salary for the entire month. How is it, Mr. Prime Minister, that this man is going to take care of his family? How is it that this man is going to take care of himself financially? Now you leave this man to go and rob and thief. Because a whole lot of these people who are driving taxis and driving bus nowadays were involved in crime before because they saw no other way out. Now what you are doing is, Mr. Prime Minister, what these fines are doing is pushing these people back into crime and violence. And I'm going to tell you, Mr. Prime Minister, as a detective and a knowledgeable policeman, you are going to find yourself in more crime problems than traffic problems. And that is the result. That is going to be the result of these high traffic fines. I am not saying that you did not think about the repercussions before you did this. And I'm not saying that you do not care about the Jamaican people. But I am telling you, Mr. Prime Minister, that you are searching for solutions, but this is not the solution to crime and violence. And this is not the solution to traffic offenses, traffic violations in Jamaica. You are creating a tunnel. You're creating a funnel for crime and violence. You're creating a funnel for more corruption within the police department. So if you do not change these fines to a lower cost, Mr. Prime Minister, Jamaica will, in the next few months, Jamaica will have more crime and Jamaica will have more unpaid tickets. And that is what the country should be running away from. This is my opinion on the case as an experienced policeman. I don't care who want to share my views or who want to oppose my views, but I am speaking as I see it. I am speaking as I see it as a senior ex-detective, a senior detective who understands the rate of crime, who understands why crime happens. And these fines will only be a catalyst to the escalation of crime and violence in Jamaica. It will not get better, it will get worse.